Hello, I'm back with another video. This is a build video where I do a piano key coat rack. And why don't we go look at it right now? That is the coat rack there, so you can do one of these guys. There we go. And, you know, like so. As you can see, the board warped on me a bit, and a couple of the pieces have a tighter fit than the rest. But it was my first try at something like this, and I think it turned out okay. I mean, it works, right, for now. We might redo that one with another piece of pine versus the red oak, but without any further ado, let's get into the build portion, and cheers. Okay, as you can see here, I am doing some measurements on this piece of red oak that I got from a local lumber store. The measurements I'm doing is 1 3/4 and an inch. So there's a bigger pieces that are stationary, and that's 1 3/4, and the inch pieces are the hooks that will fold out. I went with 1 3/4 because my drill press has a workable area of 2 inches, so I thought that'd be enough clearance to go ahead and drill through those perfectly. Here I'm using the miter saw. I couldn't quite figure out the crosscut and table saw. It was out of square. So I'm using the miter saw to go ahead and make those cuts individually. And in the side, you'll notice that I'm trying to keep these pieces in order. So the grain looks like it's supposed to be like it grew that way, right? Because it did. So now I'm angling these and using the miter saw here to cut a 60-degree angle on these skinny pieces. Just to get that rocker motion. And I'll go back through and trim off an edge just to get a bit of a round over. Next up, we are drilling. I've made a little jig and clamped it to the drill bed just to try and keep those pieces in place as best I can. And each, in between each drilling, I am blowing away the sawdust just to get a perfect fit, because I don't want it to like throw it off at all. I want them to be like pretty aligned here. So drilling done. Next is time for some sanding. So we'll go ahead and put the miter saw away, bring out a belt sander, and I'll hit that with 80 grit at first, and then we'll move to a 120. I think the 120 I had on a palm sander. There we go. So just trying to get those nice and smooth for some pre-stain. We'll come back and hit that with a higher grit sandpaper by hand. There we go, doing that now. And now, once we're done with that, still keeping the pieces in order, laid that out on a drop cloth and soaked that with pre-stain. The pre-stain will be it just acts to kind of fill in the little gaps in the cells and make sure the stain takes a consistent take. There's a test pattern there. I decided to go with the gun stock. That's middle left there. I thought that looked the best with the redwood. The dark was just a little silly looking. There's the finished stain, and we've got the wipe-on poly ready to go. That's the dowel rod that all these pieces will fit into, the 1/4 inch dowel. And, just a little test for you. Fun stuff. Okay, you can see how I tried to keep the grain pattern lined up there. Getting them on that dowel rod was actually really frustrating and really hard. But here I am going over a higher sand. I think that's a 320 grit. I'm just trying to get that surface really nice and smooth with the wipe-on poly. There we go. You can see a bit of material being removed. Not much though. and blow those off with compressed air individually. I don't want any particles on there when I come to use the second layer of the wipe on poly, which you can see me doing now. Okay, that is starting to look pretty nice. And we'll do away with the drop cloth there, being careful to keep the pieces in order still. Get out of there. Dowel rod hanging out there too. Next, we're going to set up the router bits for a keyhole slot, and that's how I will hang this thing on the wall, is by doing a little keyhole. So setting up there, here's a shot of the board again. I'm just marking where I want the keyhole, and I want that to be even on each kind of stationary piece, of course. So what I'll go ahead and do is tape those off at the same time, to make sure that we're getting the same kind of dimensions here. I wanted to be very careful with the router bit itself. I didn't want to go too deep, so here I am measuring that. Kind of hard to see the bit there, but it is shaped like almost like a mushroom there, where you would cut into the piece and then cut on the inside of the piece, and it leaves a nice little keyhole, hence the name. Now it's time to go ahead and do a kind of starter hole for the router bit, so that way it just has an easier time cutting through that hardwood. So I'm adjusting the bed here to get that perfect. I've taped off the board where the hole should be, and I've marked that. And then once I get this kind of lined up, I'll come back and I'll put another piece of painter's tape on the drill, just to mark a depth. Little trick there. So here we go with that. I don't want to go too deep on this, and I want it to be the same on the other piece that will work as the fastener. So here we go. I think we're about ready. Just double checking there, making sure everything is lined up. And there we go. Good deal. We will repeat that with the other board, or the other little cut, I guess. Being pretty careful there. And here is that second bit. They're not perfect sizes, but the saw eats a little bit away of the material when you cut that up. You can see the tape kind of flipped off the extra sawdust for me a little bit. And I think we're done. We're ready to put those keyholes in. I went ahead and just kind of eyeballed it a little bit, and then what I'll do is set up stop blocks on either side of my router fence, so I can't really go too far off course. And here you see me just using a test piece for the stain that I'll go ahead and clamp to the fence. That will be my furthest dimension right for the keyhole bit. Ooh, clamp that on there. Nice arm shot. Ooh, look at that. Right in the camera. So just trying to make sure this will go as smoothly as possible, because again, first time doing this kind of thing, and I don't want to really mess anything up, because I don't know, there's gonna be mess ups, that's just part of it, especially when you're learning. But here's that second stop block. I've figured out, I want the keyhole to be about 1 inch long or so, and I've marked that on the board. But yeah, just a piece of scrap wood to function as a stop block here. So let's get that clamped down. And pretty soon we are going to be ready to make our cut once those are aligned. Double checking again. All right, so you can kind of see the bit there. That's maybe a little bit better shot of what this thing does, and that will, of course, be noisy. Here we go. I want to drop it straight down, and I want to make sure that I'm keeping in line with that stop block on my right, because that's where the hole's going to be that we pre-drilled. And so there we go, in. And I'll just slowly slide that back, being careful not to have the material burn at all. But I want to be slow enough where my fingers feel safe, and that I get all the way to that stop block on my left. So there we've turned the router off, and we'll just slide that back and pull it off. Kind of clear away some of the dust there, and you can kind of see the keyhole. So that's what it looks like on the back. You know, getting some screws out just to test that we have the right kind of dimensions. I lined that up with my bit before. I just wanted to double check at this stage, and I think we have a pretty good hold on it. Pretty good fit. Okay, time for piece 2. You know how this goes, so let's fast forward a bit. And of course, the second piece went a lot smoother. Just, you know, it's try number 2. So we had an idea of like what was going to happen, and there it is. There I am checking with the screw again. Here we are getting a little bit closer to the lineup. I got this paste wax to try and fit these things on the dowel. This is impossible. It's a 1/4 inch dowel and a 1/4 inch drill bit, but the fit was just so snug, and it just took probably an hour and a half to gently coax those on with a various, you know, got a rubber mount there you can see. I've got some, you know, various tricks. It just took a long time. But so I didn't film this whole sequence. It was there you go. Well, we've seen this before. Here I am just like testing it out. Yep, pretty smooth. Little you know, let's get ready to wrap this up. Getting the holes all in alignment with the pieces, that was a little tricky, but getting all those pieces on the dowel was probably the hardest part. I didn't film any of that because it was just so frustrating. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.